Hey, John Morris here, johnmorrisonline.com. So would you like to sell your freelance services a lot easier? And what I mean by that is without feeling like a sleazeball or without needing to read 1,000 books and become a sales genius. If so, I think this story could have some insight for you. So this is a project that I worked on for Inc. magazine. I worked for this guy named Lewis, and he was some kind of director at the company. Can't remember exactly what it was, but he had quite a few people who worked with him, and he'd written several books. One was a big bestseller, if I remember right. So the guy was a heavyweight, and having a lot of people who worked for him and probably heard a lot of BS, he didn't take any crap. And I remember the first meeting that we had, I don't think that I've been asked why about the things I had to say that many times, probably by all my other clients combined. He was just that sort of person. And he continued to be that way throughout the project. He never just took my word on things. I had to explain every little thing that I was doing, but it was weird because he wasn't mean about it, and it didn't come across as him being a douchebag. It was just more, he was very inquisitive, and he wanted to know the reasoning behind things, like why I wanted to do things this specific way. So whenever I gave him a good reason, he accepted it. He didn't just fight with me just to fight, and we would move on with it and do it. But when I didn't, he wasn't afraid to sort of call me out and say, "Wait a second, let's talk about that." We would dig into it, and then we'd maybe figure it out, and he'd accept what I was saying, or we'd maybe find something else out. And I felt like by the end of the project, both him and I had a lot of mutual respect for each other. And you can see his testimonial here. He said, "I can't thank you enough for the excellent work and wisdom you brought to this project." And his project in particular, he had been trying to get this membership site built for, I think it was 2 years. And he had hired several other developers specific to the software that he was using, which is what I specialized in. And he wasn't able to get it built. And one of the reasons why he sort of questioned a lot of things was because he had been through several developers, and they had sort of told him things. And by the end of 2 years, he didn't really believe it. And I was wanting to scrap everything that had been done and start over. And he was sort of, he wasn't exactly keen on that. So anyway, like I said, by the end, he understood why I did what I was doing, and we had a lot of mutual respect. But that project taught me a lot. Being questioned on everything and having to explain everything taught me a lot about how to be believable when talking with clients, how to generate trust, not with just what you say, although you got to do that, but also how you say it. And I took what I learned from that and really getting deep into that sort of psychology and working with someone who really, by the questions that he asked and the way he dealt with me, sort of exposed a lot of the insecurities and a lot of the thinking that goes on inside of a client's mind. So I took what I learned and then I applied it to selling my freelance services. And that's that change, and what I learned there is a big part of why I got to work with Michael Hyatt and Lewis Howes and all these other sort of big heavyweights out there that I talk about. It was trust. The people I worked with trusted me to work on these projects. So I guess the point I want to make is selling your services isn't about some slick presentation or some fancy sales triggers or gimmicks or whatever the phrase the people writing the books or tweeting over on Twitter use these days. What it ultimately comes down to, specifically when we're talking about freelance services, although I would say this probably applies in other places, but I know for sure that it applies when we're talking about freelance services. It's ultimately about trust and establishing it quickly with people who probably aren't gonna know a ton about you. Now, there's things you can do to make sure they know something about you, but in most cases, they're probably not gonna know much about you. So you have to be able to establish trust quickly with those people, and there's things that you can do to do that. Anyway, I reveal what I learned in lesson 6 with all of this in my new freelancing course. It's how to be more believable in everything you say, so clients just sort of feel like you're trustworthy and you can get hired a hell of a lot easier. So then you can get to the point where you're not struggling or hoping and wishing to get clients each month. Instead, you have a backlog of clients and you can pick and choose who you work with and what you charge. Now, I know you can get there. I know from my own experience and my own backlog, but you got to learn how to be convincing and believable so you can push clients over the hump to hiring you. The thing to remember is it's not their job. It's not their job to believe you. It's your job to make them believe you. It's not their job to want to hire you. It's your job to make them want to hire you. So try to move out of the wishing and hoping sort of mindset and into it's my responsibility. I have to get them to hire me. And these are the things that I need to do in order to do that. Anyway, you can get access to what I learned in that course for free over on Skillshare. As a teacher, I can give you exclusive 2-month free trial. You get full access to all the courses on the site, including mine. Then you just take the course, cancel anytime before the 2 months is up, and you never pay a dime. So it's pretty simple. Anyway, the link to get started is johnmorrisonline.com/freelance. Again, that's johnmorrisonline.com/freelance. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you later.